Hello, Something Guys and Gals. This is Something Guy 912 back with you for another weekly deluge of odd architecture for the time being with D1 underscore Eli underscore 02. This map follows from the last in a lot of ways, mainly that half of this map is comprised of geometry of the last, but nevertheless I will do my utmost to scrutinize anything out of the ordinary. Anyhow, let's finish up Black Mesa East stat. Alright, and now we are properly in-game again. Following up from one, this is more or less the same as the other airlock section, although there's a lot more random pipes and doodads. Going out into the yard, of course, we are introduced to the gravity gun, which allows us to do a bunch of stuff with it. Of course, the issue with that is a lot of the geometry and props are deliberately out of reach so that you can test it. So, if you didn't have the gravity gun, well, you know, bear luck trying to get up here, for example. And speaking of up here, obviously, you have the little Easter egg with the old HEV suit plate. But this balcony has a incomplete railing. Kind of reminds me of the canal maps and how that was constantly noted throughout, and with no inexplicable showing of where the other part of this rail would be. So it kind of implies that this section of rail just inexplicably ends here. And then we gotta grab this real quick so that we can get her moving along. Moving on, we have this fence gate thing, which surprisingly is quite practical. I was kind of surprised myself how practical it is in terms of the construction of it. It doesn't even clip into anything when it's moved aside, and it's just weird that this is only used once, I believe. I think it's only used in this map specifically, and they never use it again. Oh, hold up. I'm just trying to do this just so I can get her moving along, because there's something that happens when the Combine attack this place that I want to bring attention to, and it can only happen if I go through this entire sequence, so I'm just trying to play through this, essentially. Okay, so she's gonna get a move on. We will continue on with the scrutinizing. There is these section of fence here that just seems to be placed here to cut off from the rest of the scrapyard, although, of course, it doesn't really make sense for these fences to be here in such a way. And then, more to the point about the overall nature of this scrapyard, we have all these night lights, and there are no wires to them, so I'm not sure how exactly they're being powered. My headcanon was that maybe they're being solar powered, but, you know, given the decrepit nature and kind of like jury-rigged nature of this rebel base, I really doubt they have access to solar solar technology for these, so it's kind of, your guess is as good as mine when it comes to it. And additionally, it's very noticeable throughout this particular map because of just the wide space of things, but you can kind of see the 2004 level of the architecture and texture design kind of pop in. As you can see, like, you can see this very, very noticeable line between when the texture of this cliff face or rock face or whatever you want to call it stops. And obviously it's 2004, you know. This was, like, revolutionary for its time, so even something like that could be overlooked, because it was, like, things like this weren't done to this level with this kind of detail before. And additionally, we have the concrete of these pipe systems. Like, you can just see just immediately how the texture just kind of stops there, instead of, like, the texture kind of, I don't know what you would describe it, like, if you were cutting into rock, I feel like there would be certain impressions along the side of this cliff face if you were to design a pipe system this way. And speaking of the pipes, we have these two sets of pipes here, which aligns or is copied with these two sets of pipes above here as well. And if we clip in, as you can see, if they were to continue to go out, they would basically clip into one another, so they wouldn't jut out like this. They would be funneling in, and I'm not really sure what these even serve. Maybe runoff for something, but obviously it's way above where the water level probably used to be and even farther above where the water is, so I don't know what this is exactly. And then I'm gonna move down here, so she'll introduce us to Dog for another little section that I want to bring attention to. A few other things as well. Just trying to get through this procession real quick. Let them do all that good old shit. There wasn't anything else about this area that seemed particularly out of the ordinary. I mean, maybe you could, you know, maybe you can make a judge about these containers being placed in this particular way because it kind of makes them pretty hard to access with this broken down car in the way. But, I don't know, like, maybe they wanted it that way. So, there's this section here, now we're at to it, where Dog tosses a crate at us. And there was a dev comment... Oh. I don't think that's supposed to happen. So there was a dev commentary in the train station map where there was this section where you had to use these crates to stack up and get out of this window. But they had to account for the possibility of somebody throwing all the crates out. So they basically hammer space in crates out of nowhere. And similarly to what Dog is doing right now, he will just infinitely spawn these crates out from this dumpster, no matter how many times you fail. And it messed up again. That's weird. I didn't do that last time I was scrutinizing this map. So, I catch one of these just real quick. Oh. No. Come on. Oh. He did it again. That's so weird. I don't know if that's a bug in this game or in regards to Gary's mod. Just... Come on, man. We're gonna be here forever. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna ignore him. So, the other thing I wanted to bring up is, after you catch some of these crates, there is a roller mine that is underneath here. Now, the roller mine... Oh. He did it now. What the... Okay. Okay, hold up. I gotta grab a few more of these. I really wish there was a faster way to get through this, but, like I said, I need to have this sequence happen so I can point out to something later. Especially regarding the roller mine now, I was just about to bring up. He did it again! What? Okay, whatever. We'll just wait for him to do it correctly, I guess. It's just funny. Oh, he did it again. So, there's a roller mine underneath here that is programmed to follow you. Now, this roller mine is completely not hostile, despite the fact that roller mines later in the game do become hostile. Now, oh, yeah, he's gonna bring it out. So, in episode 1, there's this sequence where Alex, like, reprograms one of these roller mines to be friendly, but it's, like, yellow, and it's, like, unstable. So, it kind of beggars belief how this roller mine is still, like, blue, but is not, like, immediately hostile. Now, of course, this is probably just a concession so that you aren't, like, punished for, like, having this thing hit you and all that. He did it again! So weird. Oh, well, he didn't do it like that. But yeah, it's just interesting, that they had to essentially turn off possibly something in its AI to essentially damage you when it gets too close in that regard. But yet they had AI program for her to reprogram it in that particular way. It's just interesting that it does make me wonder, they probably didn't have the presence of mind for Half-Life 2 Episode 1 with this in mind, because I imagine if they did have the presence of mind of making Episode 1, they probably would have made the roller mine work differently. Because the thing I always do in Half-Life 2 runs is I try to bring this thing with me because it follows me, and it's very good at taking care of zombies. If you're just going to go for the gravity gun only section of that chapter. And it's also good for the achievement, although I already did the achievement. It's just, you know, it's good for if you want to do the achievement easier. Although I usually always go for the classic engine block strat. All right, we're gonna wait for them to run out here. I'm just bringing the roller mine just because, even though I don't really need to. We go through this whole section. I imagine I should probably make a comment about this. Pin Splash made a comment about this, how the thing that Eli pops out from here is just a solid texture. It's not an actual... It's not an actual... That kind of threw me off for a moment. I thought my computer turned off. But yeah, it's just a solid texture. It's not like an actual screen that pops in and out like this. I think you can kind of tell if you, like, angle the angle your perspective in a certain way that doesn't look like a normal, like, you know, small monitor screen. So yeah, we run off, try to get her. We get cut off by some debris that falls. And if you can hear it, is a fire alarm sound. Now, the thing that's peculiar about a fire alarm sound is that nowhere in this map or the prior map is there like a sprinkler system or fire alarm sounds to indicate as such. So I don't know where this is even coming from. So after that, we have to run back and go to the tunnels into Ravenholm. There's not much to say about this section here, but the ending part surprisingly had a lot for me to comment on, because there was just a lot of very interesting things about it. Just gonna move through that. So, you know, we come across this somewhat submerged area with these cameras pointing to this broken mine shaft. Now, the first thing to comment on is, where is this water even coming from? Because the elevator shaft is covered. So it's not like rainwater came down in here. There doesn't seem to be a leaking pipe of any note. It's just coming from nowhere. Secondly, you can kind of see the weird cutoff between the Ravenholm section, or the mine shaft, elevator shaft section, and this tunnel section. Like, you can see just the sudden jarring cutoff between here and here. It really feels out of place. And then, you know, that helled crab, you know, jump scares us. We have this ladder with this weird hatch cover thing. I'm going to evoke Freeman's Mind 2 again, because Ross Scott makes it a point to bring out how this ladder cover would basically do nothing to stop somebody from climbing up this ladder.
Why is this locked? It's a ladder. The mesh is so big I can grab on anyway.
And then even more to the point about this ladder is below us is a broken elevator shaft. And I clipped through this and, you know, what do you think it's going to be? Oh, it's the same elevator asset from the prior map. So this elevator shaft would be clipping into this ladder, especially with the hatch here, this hatch cover here. So I don't know why this would be here. You know, obviously, like, ladders for elevators do exist in the off chance that a elevator fails. It's just obviously the geography would account for the ladder in the elevator, especially for a ladder with this weird cover here. And then, as you can see with this elevator asset that's out of bounds, it's facing this way towards the tunnel. But if we go all the way up, it'd be facing the wall, whereas the exit is over here. So, I mean, even if it was facing the direction of the ladder, it would be facing a wall down here at the base. So it's just, either way, you're kind of screwed on that. And yeah, it was a lot to comment about this particular area. So with that, that is it for D1_Eli_02 and the chapter Black Mesa East. And that was that for that map, that chapter, and more to do with art architecture, as I will be properly excavating my way through Wednesday Season 2. Of course, I will work on a Team Fortress 2 art architecture vid when I get the opportunity, as I often do whenever I complete a Half-Life 2 chapter. Hope to see you when the breakdown of that show arrives.